Mining your spiritual gifts. How do we harness and honor our spiritual gifts as a creator? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Marianne Williamson. Thank you, Jeff.
Do you really think and believe that millions of evolved souls would say yes to come to Earth just to die in a totalitarian New World Order? Absolutely not. We came to flip this world upside down, back to its original state and more. We came here for the new Earth, for world peace, for the immortal golden age, for a new Eden. We came here for nothing less than to send a wave of light and love across the universe, signaling the birth of a new order of divine justice, peace, compassion, and love. I love that quote, because times are, if we let, if we watch too much news or we're strolling through the airport and CNN is playing, we can get sucked into the vortex of drama and chaos and darkness that is all around us. If nothing else, this time definitely proves that people experience their own realities. Okay, and there's a clearing I do. It's called contrived reality, and there's 4 different types of realities that people live in. One is consensus reality, and that's the things that we all agree on. The color purple, gravity exists. You have to put gasoline in your car to get it to go down the highway, on and on and on. That's consensus reality. It's the things that we work together to make this world function as a society, a larger society. Then there's a contrived reality, and that's usually most people are in a contrived reality of some sort. And we spend our time between these, right? We don't live in one constantly. But a contrived reality is something that's handed to us by dogma, by upbringing, by our family of origin. And that's just a way of looking at the world. It's a series of filters of looking at the world and being in the world. And then there's other inappropriate reality. And that's usually invoked, convoked, evoked, which means somebody placed that in your field and you're living through that. And then the last one, and which is the most important, is your own perfect, proper, and appropriate reality. Your own perfect, proper, and appropriate reality. And that's the one you came here to create for yourself. That's the one you came here to live in. That's the one you came here to live into. That's the one you came here to create from. And a lot of people will, when I first do this clearing or this protocol, they'll be contrived reality will be their predominant reality, and it's usually 70-80%. Consensus reality is 30 or 30%, something along those lines. And then they're not even touching their own perfect, proper, and appropriate. And so I have to do that clearing several times throughout working with people in order to shift those numbers around, get rid of the contrived reality, and then you only have 2, your own perfect, proper, and appropriate, and then consensus reality. And even there, I have to work pretty hard with an individual to shift them. A lot of people will be like 70% consensus and 30% perfect, proper, and appropriate. And you would think it would be the other way around, but this world is an energy suck and an energy drain to the point where it can actually manipulate your reality. Okay. So we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to do something. We're going to do something a few steps ahead of that. Eventually, as we progress down the pike here with these classes, we'll start working on those contrived realities as well. But tonight we're going to focus on your spiritual gifts, which is part of your own perfect, proper, and appropriate reality. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to start with a reading here. Again, out of The Art of Living. This is a magnificent book. Make full use of what happens to you is what this is called. Every difficulty in life presents us with an opportunity to turn inward and to invoke our own submerged inner resources. The trials we endure can and should introduce us to our strengths. Prudent people look beyond the incident itself and seek to form the habit of putting it to good use. On the occasion of an accidental event, don't just react in a haphazard fashion. Remember to turn inward and ask what resources you have for dealing with it. Dig deeply. You possess strengths you might not realize you have. Find the right one. Use it. If you encounter an attractive person, then self-restraint is the resource needed. If pain or weakness, then stamina. If verbal abuse, then patience. As time goes by and you build on the habit of matching the appropriate inner resource to each incident, you will not tend to get carried away by life's appearances. You will stop feeling overwhelmed so much of the time. Okay, so that's what tonight is about, is to get at these spiritual gifts that you possess. So let's go through what they are first of all. The first one is love. Love. Now, some people may call it charity. Okay. Let's see if we can get a better picture. Love, and then joy. Joy is another part of who you are. Peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and that's faithfulness to friends, family, your projects, bringing things into creation. Longanimity, which is long suffering. And that may not sound like a good gift, but I assure you it is. Because if you're dealing with people like I had several family members who have had long, serious illnesses, and this one carried me through that. I was able to be by their side and be there and love them through all that, through the spiritual gift of long suffering. Mildness, faith, modesty, and self-control. And these things I find as you evolve spiritually and evolve in this world and have more and more access to who you are, these things are there. They're not something you have to learn. They come along with the territory. So as the field gets clearer and clearer, which is what this indicates over here, as the field gets clearer and clearer, these things come to the surface and you have access to them. And that's a beautiful, beautiful part of being alive. Now keep in mind, you're a human. That's what the horizontal line is. But you're a spiritual being having a human experience, right? And so it's always important to tap into the infinite part of you and to be in the present moment, which is represented by that red circle. And the present moment is right here, right now, this moment, while we're all sharing together tonight. And the things we're experiencing together tonight is your life. The future is a dream, the past is a memory. And so we want you to be able to be in the present moment, as present as possible, and have access to all these wonderful spiritual gifts. Okay. All right. And then I've got one more that you've heard me talk about Dr. David Hawkins, and I base a lot of my work on his book, Power versus Force. And Hawkins was a gentle, very gentle soul who I had the great honor of meeting and spending time with Dr. Hawkins. And was a very gentle soul. He's since left this earth, but he was truly the embodiment of every one of these spiritual gifts. Just being in his energy field, you could feel all this stuff all at the same time. It was amazing. But he's got a quote that I love, that I refer to quite often, and it's called The Greatest Gift. And the question is, so what can the spiritual seeker do to be of help to society? His answer to this question was, to endeavor to evolve spiritually is the greatest gift one can give. It actually uplifts all of mankind from within because of the nature of power itself. Power radiates and is shared, whereas force is limited, self-defeating. All society is subliminally and subtly influenced by every kind and loving thought, word, or deed. Every forgiveness is a benefit to everyone. The universe notes and records every action and returns it in kind. Karma is actually the very nature of the universe because of the innate structure and function of the universe itself. In the universe, time is measured in eons. Beyond that, it does not even exist at all. Every kindness is therefore forever. Your consciousness is the number one factor in your view of reality. And if you've sat with me other times, or if you had one-on-one sessions, I've said that, I keep saying that over and over and over and over again. And this goes back to Hawkins' scale of consciousness, and the scale is 0 to 1,000, and 0 to 100 is where you find the energies of fear, shame, and guilt. 200 is the level of courage. 500 is the level of love. 600 is the level of peace. 700 is the level of enlightenment. And 1,000 is where you will find people like Christ or Buddha or Krishna coming in at. Now we all fall somewhere on this scale. Everything about our life falls somewhere on this scale. The food we eat, the clothes we wear, the music we listen to, the movies we watch, the books we read. And things are either feeding our consciousness or detracting from our consciousness. It's not static, although there's a set point for each individual based upon how many lifetimes they've lived. But consciousness is evolving, moving, shifting. And what I have found now is that this time on Earth, as we move into the age of Aquarius, consciousness is even more available to us than it's ever been. And things like the need for ceremony are no longer, I mean, they're still effective and so forth, but we no longer need ceremony to invoke things or to create things or to bring things into existence. We can actually do it through our thoughts in a much easier fashion, through through sacred geometry. And so we're getting more and more access as humanity is getting more and more access to consciousness. Okay. Now, the reason that's important is because if let's say I've got a metaphorical window, and this window represents the world, and sitting in front of this window are two people, and the person on the left is got a level of consciousness of 200, which is courage, which is a really cool place to be. I find that people that get on the phone with me are at least 200, or they're not even attracted to my work. They're not even interested because they just don't have the courage to hear anything I have to say or process any of the information that we need to process. But let's say the person on the left of this metaphorical window is at the level of 200, which is courage. And that means you're a seeker. You're looking, there's something out there, there's something more to life, there's something better, but you can't put your finger on it. And then the person on the right is at the level of 500, and 500 is the level of love. And that's a magnificent place to be. But the person on the left at 200 sees this metaphorical world, sees the exact same circumstances, sees everything in it, understands the intricacies of it, et cetera, et cetera. But the person at the level of 200 sees a world of lack and struggle. The person on the right at the level of 500, which is love, sees a world of possibility. And that's directly related to their level of consciousness. Right? Now, if you take somebody and you take one of them out and put somebody in at a level 700, which is enlightenment, that person sees how the dots connect and understands, oh, everything does work in my favor. I do live in a friendly universe. So your level of consciousness directly determines your view of reality. So when you come across people who are negative all the time, or who are full of drama or trauma or anxiety, or just walk around worry all the time, I guarantee you they're functioning day in, day out of a lower level of consciousness. So that's the way you can shift the planet. And that's the way we, as a group, that's what we're doing here, working on ourselves, building the field of the Soul Warrior Network. And we're building and creating this field and making it stronger and stronger and stronger. And we're helping to shift the consciousness of the planet, because that's the only way this place changes. It will never change by electing the next corrupt politician, or it will never change by signing a petition or protesting or whatever it is you feel you have to do. The world will not change. It just will not. Well, you're making it change tonight and every week you sit here by raising your level of consciousness and how you show up in the world. And then that has ripple effects. And that ripples up to the people closest to you, and then the people beyond them, and then your coworkers, and then the world. And so that's the way we change the world, is through an increase in consciousness. And like I said, with the beginning, we're at the very beginning of the age of Aquarius, and that's no accident that we're all here at this time. And by us showing up at this time and working on ourselves, we balance the negativity of more people. And that's a concept that Hawkins talks about in Power versus Force, is that one Jesus Christ at 1,000 on the scale of consciousness balanced the negativity of 700 million people on the planet.